Hey, warrior friends, happy Tuesday. I am so excited for a brand new warrior conversation today with my warrior friend Kate. So we will get everything started in just a few moments as Kate and everyone hops on. Hey, Kate, I see you join in the chat. So excited. Hey, and as you're joining us, make sure you just drop a comment. Let Kate and I know that you're today as we dive into all things what it means to draw the line and achieve more peace and less burnout. Hey, warrior friend.
Hi, how are you?
It is so good to see you.
I know. I feel like I was just thinking earlier, I'm like, we have been trying to do this for, I think, 2 years.
Oh, I know. It's wild. The exact right time. Like, I just cannot wait to talk with you and
I can't wait to chat.
book with me. I'm so excited.
I love it.
How's your Tuesday then?
It's good. I think I have like either spit up on me or food from the kids. It's been wild. It's like 93 degrees here today. So for me, I love the heat, but the kids are like all off their rockers right now. So I'm glad. Yes, I made it. I made it. That's like the biggest thing these days is just showing up and being able to make it.
And there's just show up. Made it through another day. Already inspired me, Kate.
How are you?
Good. It's been a great Tuesday. It's felt like a Monday,
Yeah.
But it's been good. I've been looking forward to this conversation. So before we dive into today's warrior conversation, things first, thank you all who are joining us. Drop a comment that let Kate and I know that you're joining this warrior conversation today. And Kate, for those who don't know who you are, just introduce yourself. Like, who is Kate?
Thank you. So I'm Kate Crocco. I'm like, I feel like my title and everything has sort of shifted since my last book came out and since we really connected a while ago. But I'm a former psychotherapist and business mindset coach. I used to do coaching with female entrepreneurs and help them with mindset and confidence and get through all of the limiting beliefs that they had in their businesses. And we have had 3 kids over the last 4 years. My husband and I, we live in New York. And honestly, like a lot of what we've sort of gone through has really shaped what this new book is about. And it's shifted a lot even since the book came out. But so over the last couple of months, I've actually shut down my business. I've set a new boundary line and I'm home with the kids. And we can talk a little bit about that today, where sometimes we have to set boundaries that maybe we don't even really want to with ourselves or with other people. But I always like to say now is not forever. And this is just a new season for us that's very, very different. But I'm very, very blessed. And it's been a joyful season in many ways, as hard as it's been.
Wow. I mean, I already have so many. And it's cool. We first connected through your first book. I vividly remember, like, we're almost cover to cover in one day.
Oh my gosh. I remember the picture, actually. I'm going to turn off the kids' sound machine because it's a little loud and you're breaking up at times. But I remember seeing your picture. You were laying by a pool.
Oh, that Florida.
Yes.
Like, literally by that pool, cover to cover. I absolutely loved it. And it came to me in a season, right, where I was learning how to be a leader. And so you're getting, like, leapt off the page for me. I absolutely loved it. Second book, I was like, I need to connect. I need to learn all the things. Like, let's dive in. We've talked a little bit about drawing the line. This is her new book. So what does drawing the line even mean? And you've used that verbiage a little bit in your intro. So what's the title of your book mean?
Yeah, so a big thing and a word that a lot of people don't like to say is the boundary word. So a softer, more gentle way to put it is drawing the line, and the subtitle is How to Create More Peace and Less Burnout in Your Life. And recently I X that off and I turned it into a new subtitle. The new one is How to Create More Peace and Less Burnout in the Midst of Chaos.
Ooh.
And that's sort of like what we're living through right now. But I feel like boundaries are sort of like a buzzword that have been going around for a few years. And honestly, when I had the vision for this book, which was now 4 or 5 years ago, it was supposed to be called Boundaries Like a Boss. And it was supposed to be how to create boundaries in your business and boundaries as a leader. And working with my publisher, we decided, you know what? I think everyone needs boundaries, especially through what we've lived through over the last 2 years. You can hear my kids screaming in the background. Sorry, so sorry. Um,
That's
Sometimes there's no personal boundaries in this house with sound and noise, but
I'm
I
here.
gotta do what I can do. But anyways, I feel like, especially over the last couple of years, we have all of us have taken boundaries to this new level that we never wished that we would have to. We never imagined or envisioned we'd have to. Um, so yeah, I think that we all need a little bit more boundaries in our lives to be able to create more peace, because without them, there is no peace. There is just chaos. Um, and there's, I think that it's a big reason why a lot of people have anxiety, is because I hear it so often, like, how did you say that to someone? Or how do you set a boundary with someone? Like, I feel so anxious thinking about having that conversation with someone. But when we can take that hard step of setting a boundary and drawing our lines in the sand, that's when our life actually becomes easier. And that's when it feels less chaotic, even when it's maybe chaotic. And that's where we have more peace and less burnout in our lives.
Yeah, no, that's so powerful. And it sounds like this book is more than just a book for it sounds like it's really personal.
Oh, yeah.
That inspired, like, did you go to a point in your own becoming journey where I need this book, I'm putting it on paper? Like, what is this book?
Yeah, yeah. So the opening chapter of the book, I talk about my boundaries with myself and my business. So I was definitely a workaholic. I, like you, am very passionate and love what I do. And when you love and you do what you do, it's really hard to set a limit. And it's like that with anything, whether it's a business, a career, a relationship, like, you just want more and more because it fills you up and makes you feel happy. But what we don't always see is when we don't set those limits with ourselves, we can really burn out. And it can really take a toll on our personal lives, the lives of other people around us. And for me, I didn't realize how entrenched I was in my business until the pandemic hit. And I found myself, you can hear my kids screaming in the background. I found myself going from this peaceful, my kids are at daycare and I get to just work on my business, to just being in the trenches of having them home with us, and not being able to really do much. It was actually right when my first book came out, February of 2020. I had all of these like speaking engagements and podcast interviews, and I think we had something maybe even scheduled. And I panicked. Like, I completely panicked because it was something that I had worked so hard for. It was a dream that I had my entire life to publish my first book. And I set these really high goals for myself. And all of a sudden, I was home with 2 kids, and they were very little. I think they were like, actually, I have a picture I'm going to show you, because luckily I was able to have my book launch party
Okay.
the week, I think it was 2 weeks before the world came crashing down. So
Wow.
that is little Annabelle. She was like two and a, maybe she was like 2.5, and then Charlie was like 18 months because they're only 17 months apart. Um, so what's that?
They're so proud.
Oh, they're so sweet. So sweet. We have a third one now too, little dreamy drooly. So cute. Um, But anyways, I panicked because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to run a business. I don't know how I'm going to do these interviews. And I had to really just cancel everything because I also, I had to learn some boundaries the hard way with myself that things can't always be perfect. And I think in life, we have to learn to adjust to what's in our hands at the moment and what we're going through. And I learned, like now I will, if I'm in a season where I can take some opportunities like this to connect with another amazing woman or a business owner, I will do it. And I'll just say, it may be a little noisy in the background. Like there's nothing I can do about it. But anyways, yeah, so that was really sort of, we were going through a lot of personal stuff also as a family during that time with boundaries we had to set with just some stuff happening like in our personal lives with family and stuff I was navigating with friends. And it's really just what created the book. And when I say like my experience with writing a book, and did you just publish a book?
It's coming out. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. I saw your post with the Amazon and I'm like,
yes.
Oh my God, I didn't realize you were even working on a book.
Oh, I know. It's been a couple years. Like, so this weekend, I got the first physical copy and like such a surreal moment. So as you've even been talking about your journey publishing your first book, I've been taking notes just like the expectations that you can set. And so I'm already making a mental checklist on the boundaries I'm going to set with myself as this.
Oh yeah.
So
one little piece of advice I will say to you is like, do what you can, but allow God to be your publicist. Allow God to do the work for you. Because again, with being ambitious and wanting to put your message out there, it's so easy to just want to like do more and do more and do more. And you don't realize until it's too late that you've done way too much.
That's good. That's so powerful. Yeah.
And when God has a plan, like nothing will get in the way of that plan. So do what you can, but don't go crazy with launching and all of that stuff.
I embrace that. Thank you for sharing that. You said something that was intriguing to me because when I first hear the word, and it might be true for several people who are joining us or watching later, I almost think of boundaries that I put for other things, other people, or right. But you first introduced us to boundaries, which I actually thought was really insightful. And so, what would the difference be, or why is it important to set boundaries with you before, and then you boundaries with family, relationships, and things like that? Why do you have to create boundaries?
Yeah, I think if we can't set them with our own selves, we're going to have a really hard time setting them with other people.
Yeah.
Because if I can't say no to myself, I'm always going to give in to someone else.
Ooh, yeah, that's so powerful.
And I think it's hard when we do it with ourselves too. Like, I think when we think of boundaries, we think of it as like, again, we think of a bad word, like something that has to be uncomfortable or something that we don't want to do. But that's not true, because often there are wonderful, amazing opportunities that we're given, and we have to set a boundary with ourselves because maybe it's a hard season that we're going through with our health, or a hard season that we're going through just personally, or in our business, or in our job. And like that was, I had made a little list of just a couple things I wanted to share today. And like, that was one of them. Is sometimes we have to prioritize, and like the things that we really want to say yes to, we have to put on hold.
Which is so hard to do because we want to do those. And when we say no, it can feel just like, oh, I can't believe I'm saying no to that. But maybe it's saying no to something we really want to do for what's better that we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I love your new subtitle for the book. Share that with us again. It's How to Achieve More Peace in the Midst of Chaos.
Yep. And Burnout in the Midst of Chaos.
So, okay, your book unpacks, and we're not going to, because one, I want y'all to go buy the book.
Oh, thank you.
Have 8 principles, right? Like 8 next steps. And if somebody was just tuning into this word, they're like, I hear Kate, I hear you, Emily. Draw the line. Boundaries are a good, not a bad word. Myself, like this is going to help become who I want to be in my life, right? What's something tangible someone can take today and then go buy your book?
Yeah, I really am feeling right now because there's like different days where I like specific chapters the most. And today I think it's the last chapter is clearing the clutter.
Mm.
Um, and I think we live in this society where we are over like just tuned into everything too much, whether it's Instagram, social media, it's too many friendships, too many opportunities, too many material things. Um, if like literally as I was folding laundry before this, I'm looking at all of the kids' clothes and I'm like, do we really need all these things? Like the more clothes we have, the more laundry we have to do, like
Mm.
the more clutter it creates. And that's a lot of what the last chapter is about is looking at what we have. They're downstairs, they're having a ball. Um, and saying like, what can we have like do we need all of these things? Do we need all of these opportunities? Do we need all these friendships? What can we have that's quality?
Mm.
Um, and what can we let go of? Because there's just too much of everything around us now. And I think it's important, like relationships, if your relationships with certain people feel one sided, like you're doing all the work, they're not really reciprocating, they're not reaching out to check on you, like just let some of those go. And just when we let things go and we open up space, it always allows space for better things to come in. So, better relationships, better opportunities. When we're constantly just plugged into everything, we don't have the mental capacity to take anything else in. So, I would say start with the last chapter, actually.
You know what's crazy too? I've literally been sensing that in my world. Like right now, I have a pile in my room of things like filled up to get rid of. It's true. Like the more stuff there is, people online or relationship stuff, accounts all up mind so much. And I think that that's a reasonable balance line that we all can draw today. Just clean out the clutter. So start with the last chapter and buy Kate's book.
Thank you.
So as you were preparing to share, was there anything else that you wanted to share for your conversation, drawing the line, boundaries?
Yeah, I think the last thing is no is a complete sentence and just remembering that for everyone. Like, it's so easy, especially as women. And I know I talk about this in my first book too, but just the feeling that we have to constantly over explain ourselves. And it's funny because I did that in a friendship or a relationship last week, and I realized that over explaining myself actually made the situation worse.
Ooh.
Um, I didn't just say like no or this is why. Like I don't know why. I think I was probably tired, and it was late at night, and I probably should have just waited to have finished the conversation the next day or whatever. But I think that especially when we're more vulnerable, we have a lot going on. We feel like we have to over explain, and we feel like just saying no is going to disappoint someone. But we have to just do what we need to do in this season, and our friends and the people that love and really care about us will understand. And we have to try not to overthink things because I know I'm guilty of that at times.
Oh, me too. And that's so somebody who was like, I feel like I'm gonna die inside. How can they just start saying it? Would they just say no? Or are there any power to equip someone with to start getting used to using that no muscle?
Yeah, I think just try it in any little opportunity that you get. So if it's, I think of today, I went through the car wash and they said, do you want to donate money to this organization? And I said, no, thank you. And that was it. So any little opportunity, because there will always be opportunities where somebody's trying to upsell you or somebody's asking for something. Maybe it's even a significant other. Like, no, or no, thank you. I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Start in the small things, and then the big things will get easier.
Ooh, that is so good. Thank you for sharing that wisdom that you want to share before our conversation.
I'm trying to think. I did write down. Okay, I wrote down a couple of my favorite quotes from the book.
Bring it on.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one. You know you're in alignment when everything in life is crumbling, but your hope and joy in Christ is not shaken.
Ooh. Okay, can you say that again for the
Yeah.
that?
I have to read it because it's funny when we go through the book to like every time I've written a book to pull out the quotes, I'm like, did I really say that? That's pretty good. You know you're in alignment when everything in life is crumbling, but your hope and your joy in Christ is not shaken.
Mm, that is a powerful word to hang on to. And it's a confident reassurance. Like love, it goes exactly out with this book, how to have more peace. And that's when you know you're that peace as you're becoming who God made you to be. Thank you for that. Where can people connect with you online? Obviously, you're watching on Instagram, follow Kate if you're not already. But where can people connect with you and buy your book?
Thank you. So Instagram, I love to hang out, and then my podcast is just called the Thinking Like a Boss podcast. I will say in some of my recordings, the kids are screaming in the background, and that's actually one of the compliments I get. People will email me and say, I just love your podcast because it feels so real, because your kids are screaming, or you have a baby crying, or your dog is barking, and it doesn't sound perfect. So for years, when did I launch? I launched the podcast. I think it's been 4 years now in July. So maybe even, I can't remember now. It's either 4 or 5 years in July. But for the last, I would say at least 3 years, I've been recording episodes on business mindset. So anything around business is on the podcast. And just recently, we've been talking a little bit more about just boundaries and sort of the theme of the book. And I'm actually, to be honest, not even sure where the podcast is going to go now.
I'm excited to see where it goes and
Thank you.
as you're becoming. And that's the beauty of the journey. Like we're evolving and growing and changing and becoming who God made us to be. And it's really fun. It's a joy to watch you becoming who you are.
Thank you. Oh, I love that theme so much.
Well, I love you, your friend. You equip me so much over the
Thank you.
joy to know you, and thank you for your time tonight on the, and thank you for equipping us to really pursue becoming who we are being in life. And y'all, this is going to be one of those roadmaps that you need on your becoming journey. So go buy your book. And thank you so much, Kate. You're amazing.
Thank you, Emily. It was so wonderful being with you tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.